Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 6. One who, after withdrawing the organs of action, sits mentally recollecting the objects of the senses, that one of deluded mind is called a hypocrite. So the questioner says, Shri Krishna is saying that a man who abstains from action yet keeps on thinking about the objects of the senses is a hypocrite. Whereas, to me, the mental contemplation of the desired object is more pleasure giving than actually enjoying that object via gross senses. If we then focus our desires only on one mental object or image, won't the desires for the world lessen considerably? Won't such an approach be beneficial in reducing attachment to the world? Once our mind is considerably or fully attached to that one mental object or image, will it not eventually lead to the dissolution of the ego and elimination of attachment for that one mental image as well? Isn't the goal of all spiritual actions the dissolution of ego? So, is this particular approach or method valid, or am I misguided? We are not probably quite clear about the constitution of this world and its various objects, and the relationship between the world and any or all of its objects. First of all, let's understand the particular approach that the questioner is interested in. Now, Krishna is saying in this verse that a person who outwardly shuns objects and desires, but inwardly keeps thinking and fascinating about them, is indeed a hypocrite. But the questioner here is doubting this. He says, what if I focus all my attention on one particular image or object, and in being concentrated on one image or object, I ignore the rest of the world? Won't such an approach be useful? After all, I am indeed ignoring so much. Millions of objects are there, and I am totally discarding all of them, not giving them any value or attention. My mind is fully concentrated on just one thing, object, image. I am totally invested in that one thing. He says, won't it lead to the dissolution of the ego? And he says, and once the rest of the world has fallen away from my mind, won't that single thing that I was keenly attending to fall away on its own? Won't this approach work? No, this approach won't work. Why won't it work? Let's understand. Take the example of a piece of sweet. Some sweet meat. Right? It could be a pastry, a piece of cake, laddu, anything. And you say that I am focusing exclusively on this piece of sweet. And I am disregarding everything else. All my attention, even all my devotion, is indeed on this piece of sweet. All right. So you are giving a lot of value to that sweet. And you are saying you are not giving value to anything else, right? Let's investigate. What does that sweet contain? That sweet contains some oil, let's say, as sweets do. So in giving value to that sweet, you will have to give value to oil. Now where does oil come from? Where does oil come from? Seeds, and seeds come from plants. So in giving value to oil, you will have to give value to seeds and plants. And then the soil that nourishes those plants. And then the farmer who cultivates those plants. And then the entire market, the whole economic system that helps the market, that helps the farmer draw the oil, package it, sell it, and help it reach the sweet manufacturer. Right? In valuing one thing, you do not see that you will have to value everything. Just keep extending this example and you will realize that if you are attached to one thing, that one thing will cause you to be invariably and helplessly attached to everything. Such an approach, therefore, is quite alluring and equally deceptive, misleading, and useless. We find it quite fascinating. I am prepared to give up on everything else. Can I have just one thing, please? And that's a usual tendency of the mind. When it is fascinated or obsessed with one thing, it is quite likely that for the sake of that one thing, it might feel prepared to give up everything else. That does not indicate any kind of dispassion or detachment. That only indicates fierce attachment towards one thing, and mind you, that one thing contains the entire universe within itself. Show me any one thing under the sky that is independent of everything else. Show me. That's why I said that we need to better understand the relationship between the world, which is an aggregate concept, and its infinite and various constituents. Every grain of sand contains within it the entire universe. And this is not merely rhetorical or poetic. This is a scientific actuality. There is nothing in the universe that does not contain the entire story of the universe. There is nothing here that is not dependent on everything else. So how can you be tied to one thing and yet remain free of all other things? Is it possible? Not possible at all. Not possible. Give up everything else. And get centered on a loaf of bread. And see how your dependence on a mere piece of bread can lead to your dependence on the entire world. And that's how all dependencies arise, don't they? There is one keen desire that you have, and that one keen desire will make you a servant of 1,000 masters. And it's not that you had really set out to be enslaved to 1,000 masters. All that you wanted was probably the fulfillment of a solitary desire. One single thing you wanted. I want this particular woman in my life, let's say. That kind of a desire. I want to keep her happy. Nothing else matters to me. I have nobody else. I have only this one woman in my life, I want to keep her happy. All right. Everything else has been dropped. Now there is just one object in your life. But to keep her happy, you will find that you will have to sell yourself to 100 people at 100 places on a daily basis. So kindly do not cultivate this fantastic idea. This will lead to a lot of problems. Similarly, an image. There is no image that is independent of all images. Every image contains within itself all possible images. Therefore, those who say that they do not care for anything, all that they have is one divine image in their mind, and they remain devoted to that image, are just fooling themselves. If you are devoted to one image, then you are actually devoted to all forms and images, because they are all dependent, all one and the same. Are you getting it? There is nothing called partial freedom. In other words, what you call as partial freedom is nothing but slavery. Freedom is either absolute or not at all. When you say, I am free of everything but this one thing, then you probably do not even know that you are just declaring your slavery. And we need to be careful, because that's how we all get caught and snared. Nobody wants to be full of vices. Nobody wants to be chained at all possible places in his system, in his being. We are moderate people. We do not cultivate too many vices. We just keep a few vices hidden within ourselves, don't we? So we say, you see, 90% I am a good man, a pious man. 9 out of 10 times I am a proper fellow, morally upright being. Just that one little thing I have, that shows up in the dark corners of my being. That one little thing. And we feel that the 9 things that are all right about us entitle us somehow to retain that one vice. Isn't that the common apology we offer to ourselves? You see, after all, 9 out of the 10 times I do the right thing. 9 out of 10 people I do not get attached to. So I must get some, little reward, a teeny weeny kind of attachment. So having ignored 10 allurements, now I allow myself to fall to this 10th allurement. And I do that with some kind of a feeling of entitlement. See, I left so much. Can't I take even this little thing? We tell ourselves, a fellow should not be too harsh upon himself. So that one little thing we allow ourselves, and that one little thing leads to our utter ruin and total devastation. And we do not realize that. Then we complain against fate. Then we say, you see, I was such a good man. I did everything all right. And yet look at my life, it is full of all rubbish and sorrow. Why did this happen to me? 9 out of 10 times, I was just the right and proper man, not doing anything disorderly. It's almost like saying, 9 out of 10 days, I take food. Just one odd day, the 10th day, I take some poison. Now, why should I fall ill? This is injustice. Don't 9 days of proper diet entitle me to 1 day of poison? Don't they? There has to be some equilibrium, some justice, some compensation. Shouldn't there be? So, only 1 day, only 10% of the time, I take some poison. Why do I suffer so much? That's the story of the common man. Just once a month he takes poison. Most of his decisions are not horribly wrong. Just a few. And he doesn't even realize that those few decisions, as I said, lead to his total devastation. You have to be, I'm sorry to say, absolutely right. There is no allowance for derailment here. This is not a path in which you can somehow get away with deviations. It's a tightrope walk. If you are walking on a rope, how much deviation is permissible? Tell me. How much? How much? But we allow ourselves. We say, you see, it's a tightrope walk. But for the last 50 meters, I have been walking with 0 deviation. Have I not? And today is Sunday. So I'll reward myself. Having had 0 deviations, tonight I will deviate just a little. You see, how much? Just a little. 5 degrees. 5 degrees. Just 5 degrees. Tonight. Only tonight, Because rest of the times I am a proper fellow, you see. And then what happens? Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. And now Humpty Dumpty are very sour against life itself. God is probably wicked. Life is designed to torture man. No, life is not designed to torture man. You do not understand the nature of existence. There have been entire cults who advise their devotees to focus on only one image. They say you focus on this image and drop everything else. They do not understand this basic fact that every image contains within itself all possible images. Get attached to one thing and you get attached to everything. This method cannot work, and this method never works. But there is more bad news. Though we fully well know that this method never works, yet we have some inspiring cases where people come up and say, this method worked for me. And that misleads. That misleads hundreds and thousands of people. We fail to see, we do not have the insight to see that such advertisements are false. The fellow who is parading himself, displaying himself as an example of someone who achieved salvation by focusing on one particular image, is not only deluded, he is actually deceptive. Let me simply say, he is a fraudster. He fully well knows that he did not get anything following this approach. But instead of honestly accepting that he did not get anything, instead of honestly changing his own approach, he sets out to fool and mislead others as well. Are you getting it? You must have heard that little story. In fact, I have already narrated it half a dozen times in my sessions. The story of the little cat. The Rishi and the cat. No? Not heard it? I know the mischief. You have heard it, but you want me to come up again, right? So there was this Rishi, this sage. And he would live alone somewhere in the woods and go about with his sadhana, his penance, whatsoever he was doing. Simple lifestyle. There was some kind of a rudimentary hut he used to live in. He didn't need much more than that. Contented fellow. Then one day a little kitten was found in his hut. And now the fellow is a sage. He looks at the kitten. And the kitten is small and weak, hungry. And he feels for the little thing, so he keeps it. But he is a sage, he has nothing to feed the kitten. So from somewhere, somehow he arranges something and keeps the little thing alive. The next day, some fellow comes to meet him, maybe seek some spiritual guidance, something. And the sage had never before asked any visitor or devotee anything for himself. But today he has to ask. So he says, you see, you have come here. Can you give me some milk? The visitor is surprised. He says, this fellow is not known for asking anything, but today he is asking for milk, all right. So he says, fine, I'll go back to the village and fetch some milk. He says, fine. But then that milk soon gets exhausted and he does not have a refrigerator, obviously. So, and it's India, so temperatures can rise. A few other fellows come and he regularly starts asking for milk. The little kitten does not take anything else, it keeps asking for milk. Finally, the villagers come to know that, there is a companion there. The sage has a secret. So they come to the sage collectively and they say, Babaji, why are you taking so much trouble? You give this thing to us, we'll take care of it. But by this time, the sage has developed attachment to the kitten. He says, no, you see, and actually there is no need to take it away. I think it can stay here. Additionally, you see, it has got acclimatized to this hut. And it's all right. I mean, okay, fine. The villagers understand. They say, Babaji does not want to give this thing up. So they say, all right, we'll give you a cow. You keep the cow so that you daily don't have to ask visitors for milk. Babaji said, no, I don't need the cow. But okay, if you are, insisting so much, you can bring the cow here and tie it to that tree. So now Babaji has two companions. The cow has come. Now the cow, through its milk, takes care of the kitten. But now somebody has to take care of the cow. Babaji was asking only for milk till now. Now he has to ask for hay and fodder, food and fodder and maybe even some medicines and all the things that cows require. Probably a shed has to be raised so that the cow can be saved from heat and rain and such things. And it becomes quite a hassle. Even his daily routine starts getting disturbed. Now no time for meditation, no time for contemplation. Babaji doesn't read these days. What is happening? What is happening? So much of his time is going towards just maintaining the cow and then the kitten. And the kitten is mischievous as kittens are, so the kitten sometimes runs away. Until the time the kitten isn't seen again, Babaji remains worried. So the villagers come again and say, Babaji, you have to spend so much time looking after the cow, cleaning the rubbish and arranging the food and such things. So we are deploying this woman. She will come daily and do all the cleaning and the maintenance work. Babaji says, no, it's not quite needed. I can take care of everything. But if you insist so much, fine, she can come. So the woman starts coming twice a day. Now, as things go, so things go. The woman was to take care of the cow and the kitten. She also starts taking care of Babaji. And now Babaji has absolutely no time for anything. And the villagers, they are experienced people in worldly matters. Babaji is a beginner and novice in these things. The villagers come to know of everything. So they politely go to Babaji and say, Babaji, you better marry that woman now. Things have gone beyond the sanctioned boundaries. We will arrange a simple ceremony. You just marry her. There is actually no need. But if you insist so much. So now there is the wedding. And Babaji has this wedding. Now there used to be an old disciple of Babaji. So Babaji had sent him away and said, you go and you spread light wherever you go, and you return to me only after 5 years. Once you have really proved your worth and taken my mission forward, then you can come back and give me the news. Now this was some really sincere disciple. After 5 years he comes back. When he comes back to the same old place in the jungle, he does not find the hut anywhere. Instead he finds a proper house. There's a proper house and 3 kids are fighting among themselves. The eldest one is beating the youngest one, and the middle one is shouting at the top of her voice. And there is an entire cow shed in which there are 42 cows. And some half a dozen women are roaming here and there, gossiping, quarreling, doing what they usually do. And one clean-shaven man is busy cooking food, and he is addressing the women folk. Well, food is ready. Now you can come and serve it to the kids. And then I am going out to take care of the fields. And when I am returning from the fields, I will also bring some wood for tomorrow. These things are happening. The disciple is quite puzzled. So he goes to that man and he says, there used to be a Babaji here. Where is he? Babaji is all red-faced now. He is in tears, moved and ashamed. He says, I am your Babaji. The disciple receives the shock of his life. 5 years of world tour had not given him any such surprise as this day. He says, but what happened? He says, all I can say is just one thing. Billi mat palna. One small kitten you keep as pet, and that can lead to an entire world of consequences. So that's the advice. Billi mat palna. Don't keep pets. One little thing will lead to everything. And this must be especially kept in mind by those who seek to disregard what Shri Krishna is saying in this particular verse. This exactly is what he is saying here.